There's a saying that goes like this: there's no such thing as a bad question. And if that's true, well, I have a question for you. Really simple. Have you ever asked a question and realized in that moment you didn't want the answer? Well, if you've ever been there, stay tuned, because I may have found myself in that very situation. Let's get into today's video. Welcome back to the Jam Shed. It's Grudge Match Day, y'all, and we're talking TS9 taking on all contenders, and the contender on the bench today is the Behringer TO800. In my last Tube Screamer video, I talked a little bit about how that pedal, the Behringer, was very similar to a Tube Screamer, almost turn dial for turn dial, and we're going to put that to the test today. So let's talk about our test. As you know, when it comes to grudge matches, we try to eliminate some of the variables. We can't be completely scientific. It's going to be tough because of the nature of what we're doing here. But for those of you that are new to this, in a grudge match, when it comes to tone, we want to make sure that we're eliminating the variable of the actual potentiometers. Those are the knobs you turn. And so we're going to test this thing in 3 ways. And the first way is we're going to have the drive or the gain knobs turned to 0. And then the second way we're going to test this is we're going to turn them all the way up. That ensures we're getting the full signal and the minimal amount of signal that the pedals are capable of managing. Then we're going to do a third test today, which is different than what we've done in the past, but I'm going to turn the tone knobs up because these circuits are so similar. That'll help us to really have one more data point to make a distinction on who the victor is. Is the Behringer truly a 1-to-1 clone, or does the TS9 still remain the TS9 and have its own independence from all other Tube Screamer or all other Overdrive pedals? So let's get into it. I am going to talk a little bit before I jump away here to grab a guitar. I want to talk about our rig. Today we're going to use my 2-channel triple rectifier, and that is going straight into the preamp and then into an SM57 that's running a vintage 30. And now all we need to do is for me to go grab a guitar and we can get this thing kicked off. The axe of choice for our grudge match today is my beloved 2006 Dean Evo that has a Gibson Burstbucker 3 loaded in the bridge position, and that is exactly where we'll stay for this test because we want to get maximum output to both of these pedals for our test. Now, let's talk really quick about our test rig. As you can see here on the screen, we have an A-B switch that is driving both of these pedals, allows us to switch seamlessly between the two of them, B being the TS9 and A being the TO800. What we'll do first is we're going to test the drive channel at 0. And then the second test will be at full max capacity. And then we're going to do a third test, which will be to turn the tone knob up all the way as well. And what I'll do is I'll take a break between each one, give a quick set of thoughts on each one of these tests, and then I'll give my final thoughts on where we land. Let's get into it. Yeah, I'm without words. Why? Because I didn't hear any difference. Maybe you did, but that's a tough one to call. Both of these set at 0, lowest drive we can give it. Wow, I'm without words. That was identical. I don't know that I could tell the two apart. When you saw me switch between A and B, it felt like I didn't do anything. It felt like it stayed right on the same pedal. Now, let's go ahead and crank this thing up, and we'll see how these two do at full blast, and I hope there's a difference in some sense, because right now the argument that I gave initially is true, that they are identical. So let's go ahead and turn these up. We'll make these adjustments in real time so you can see. And I'm going to switch back to the TS9. Let's let her rip, Tater Chip. So again, here we are, having a hard time hearing a difference here. I noticed that maybe the TO800 is maybe a little more mellow in the mids. I mean, ever so slightly, but I'm having a hard time hearing a difference. I'll be curious in the comments what you all think. Let's go ahead and turn the tone knobs all the way up for our third test and see what we get out of it. Why do I feel like I'm not going to hear a difference? Because we've had two tests that just told me that. So let's hear it. Okay, you saw me reaching there for a second because I wanted to hit the button again because I was having a hard time hearing any difference. This is amazing in the fact that we have two pedals that literally sound identical in the same positions. And again, I'm still hearing maybe that the TO800 is just a little more mellow in the mids, but I'm having a hard time making that distinction. So I did forget to switch the channel back to the TS9. So for that last test, we started with the 800, and for the second then we went to the B, which would be the TS9. So my overall thoughts, let's just reflect on this for a second, because again, I made a comment in the TS9 video that I remember these two sounding very similar, and I remember thinking to myself, holy cow, I love my TS9, I'm going to keep that. And then I in fact gave the 800 away because I knew it was a really good one-to-one counterpart to the TS9, and I think this video supports that. So again, for this video today, I think there isn't a clear winner. So the TS9 has had two draws in a row. It's not coming out ahead, and that's not a bad thing. I think this is a great way for us to say, hey, listen, you know, it's okay to have a draw. You want to know why? Because in the end, it's a benefit to you. It's a benefit to anybody. I think I can say with a high level of confidence that if you're looking for an overdrive that is green in nature, a TS or Tube Screamer pedal, that you could get this vintage tube overdrive from Behringer and be quite happy. I'm not gonna go too far down the rabbit hole to say, well, let's get into some of the variations. It has enough variation in there in both of these pedals on both ends of the spectrum, I would imagine, because they sounded fairly identical. And I would probably push to say that a TS9 versus a TS9, we might have about the same amount of variation between the two. Probably not much. So what an outstanding result. We get quantifiable results. We get to hear it real time. And I'm super curious of your comments down below, and please be sure to leave them. What did you think? And do you think there's another pedal that you found that really is close to the Tube Screamer? I'd be curious to hear what those are. Now, in another video, I had a comment saying the next Grudge Match definitely should be against a grunge pedal, and I'm totally doing that. I don't know that it's going to sound anywhere near that, but maybe we'll have a clear victor between which pedal we like or don't like. And you know what? This has been a fun journey, and I've had you guys here long enough as a captive audience. Thank you for all of you. I'm thankful for each and every one of you, and I want to say happy Friday, and enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.